this is what we've been waiting for, is to get this opportunity to play for this state championship. And now we're here. But he's had a couple big runs this season for us. But it was a great job at the point of attack of our offensive line.
Franchini, play fake, looking, going deep. Tyson's open, pitch and catch, touchdown.
Right now, it's whatever it takes.
This is the Chuck Smith Show on Cape Atlantic Live, presented by Omer's Appliance Service. Now, here's Coach Smith and your host, Nick Kosko.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Chuck Smith Show right here on Cape Atlantic Live, presented by Omer's Appliance Service. I'm your host, Nick Kosko, and we are back for year two ahead of the 2024 campaign with Mainland Football head coach Chuck Smith. Coach, pleased to talk to you again. Hope the summer's been good. State champions last year, but as you've probably said many times this offseason, it's time to turn the page and look ahead to 2024.
Oh, yeah. It's a pleasure being back on, Nick. Yeah, you and Matt do a great job with this. Every time I'm on the show, I see what the effort and the time you guys put to this and the other shows that are on. You guys do a lot for high school football. Greatly appreciated by all of us involved. Thanks.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Of course, we'll keep it going throughout the fall this year. So we'll dive right into it with the offseason this year. You know, you get all the accolades after a 14-0 season last year, state champs, first Saturday team to ever do that. And of course, you put on for the entire, this half of the state as well. Dominant season last year. You get a lot of guys back, as we'll dive into as well. But when you look at the process of, again, turning that page from last November, December, where, you win the state championship, there are celebrations, day after day, week after week, and it just seems like you don't hear the end of it until you get to this point right now in July. What's this whole whirlwind been like leading up to a new season this year?
Well, it's been great, have a season like that and all the accolades that came with it, all the banquets and the honors, for the kids and the program and so forth. It's been a whirlwind. Like you said, it really went all the way till I think it was April that we finally had our last thing, June, for the Cape Atlantic League program with Tony Cerise Award. It's been a lot of fun. It was well-deserved by the team last year. But, it's like one of those things, like a lot of times, we already started working on this season way back in December, once we gave the kids 2 weeks off after the championship game to get working on this season because we know how imperative it is to start as soon as possible. And it just seemed like all this stuff from the 03 season or the 23 season kept happening. And it's nice that it happened. It was great for the community, the school, the program, the kids. But we're ready, and we're looking forward to the 24 season.
You had a lot of guys that are multi-sport athletes, as we know, as we've documented over the past, especially the past calendar year. You go back to the baseball team last year, you guys in the fall, then the basketball team this winter, a lot of football guys winning that South Jersey sectional title, then baseball again having another successful campaign, just among the other sports. What was it like for the guys that, there's the senior class that finished out their high school careers, they're off to their college careers now this coming fall. But the guys that are going to be back this year, and again, we'll dive into them in a second, but the ones that play basketball, baseball, and then just simultaneously preparing for this new football season where you are set to defend a Group 4 state championship, what's it been like for them? Yeah,
it's been, I'll tell you what, this past school year, 23-24 school year, I don't know if we've ever seen a sports program overall at Mainland that won so many championships, with this group of kids that were there last season. You start with football, and then you have basketball. Baseball won the conference, and I think they won the Cape Atlantic League title. Boys swimming won the title. So there's been a lot of notoriety, and that's not even to mention all the girls programs. Our golf team won, and all that stuff. It was unbelievable. And, when you have success, it builds success. And I think that's what happened because we have so many kids. And I'm a big fan of the kids playing multiple sports. Yeah, when we're in football season, we're locked into football. Don't get me wrong. But I love that the kids play basketball, baseball, volleyball, swimming. Keeps them fresh, doesn't burn anybody out. Yeah, do we want them in the weight room in the offseason and doing those things? Yeah, we do. Absolutely. Everybody does. But at the same time, I like them to rest a little bit, work other muscles and stuff like that. Instead of wearing themselves down with the injuries and so forth, play with other people, play in other situations, things like that. And I think, the success we had in football season, it really started the year before that. And even all of our programs were pretty solid the year before that. But then all of a sudden, once you get that ball rolling, and everybody always says football drives the bus at the high school level. Mm-hmm. And I'm a firm believer in that. And that's not a knock on any other sports program that we have there. But, you have that and the community behind it and the student body that was behind us all the way up to Rutgers, with bringing all the busloads of kids up there. It just builds that. And then once you start to get that momentum, it's hard to come off of that. And I think that really led into our basketball season because we had a lot of kids that played basketball. A couple kids were on the swim team, quite a few kids playing on the baseball team and the track team and all that stuff. So it was awesome. It really was. And, it's one of those years that's going to go down in the Mainland history is probably the best sports group ever right now.
Without a doubt. And again, a lot of those guys are coming back. And last one on last year and kind of the trickle effect or, the after effect of that coming into this year. What was the reaction around from the other coaches in the area, the old school Cape Atlantic coaches, maybe some other South Jersey coaches that or you've talked to, or even some up north that, may have moved up there in years past that you've interacted with in the past? What's that reaction been like locally from the other schools around? And I get every time they play you, of course, it's going to be the goal is to beat Mainland and vice versa. Mainland's goal is to beat whoever they play on the field. What was the reaction like knowing that a team like this from, the Cape Atlantic area did this and had that type of historic success in 2023, winning a state title and really showing what this area's potential could be with other schools down the line as well?
It's been awesome because our football coaching community is really a big fraternity. You might be rivals week in and week out and go against each other, but really when you're in the off season and stuff like that, or even as you're in the season, you really try to help each other out and trying to promote football here in this part of South Jersey to the best that you can. And it's been awesome. I think that's one of the attributes of having this state playoff system now for the public schools, that now you can showcase your area and show how good you really are. It was great when you were a sectional champion. And I think a little bit, I felt that this year, the first year of the state playoffs, when we won the sectional against Middletown South, it still felt like the old days, like that was the Super Bowl kind of, but then all of a sudden you realize you had to play a state semifinal the following week, because there's all of a sudden a state championship. This year, I felt when we beat Millville in the sectional championship, not that it wasn't a great victory or anything like that, but you could tell that the kids even sensed it, and the coaches especially, that wasn't the end now. There was something bigger after that. But the coaches have been great. I mean, even after we walked off the field up at Rutgers after beating Ramapo in the championship game, my phone was full of messages from all coaches from all walks of life from the Cape Atlantic League. It's been tremendous. And anytime I see somebody out, they always are mentioning something, giving you the accolades, and and it's the same thing I would do for all them too. It's a tight group of guys. And we're always there to help each other. We're always there to support each other, and especially the guys from the old Cape Atlantic League. I don't want to say people didn't think we were good down here. And Millville's been tremendous for a number of years now. We've had our ups and downs here and there, and there's been some other programs. But it seems like when you talk about South Jersey football, it's really come from the western part of South Jersey,
right?
Those big schools that really received all the honors, or the non-publics, so to say. So it was really a nice feather in the cap to do what we did last year and the way we did it. And just to put another emphasis on what Millville did the year before, is that's two old Cape Atlantic League schools that are first two state champs in Group 4.
And you guys are certainly going to be battling it out once again here in 2024. So we'll get into the schedule a little bit. I wanted to start focusing on some of the guys that are back, some of your veteran-laden group. Again, a lot of juniors, a lot of seniors that are carrying over from last year's state championship squad. I'll start on offense a little bit. John Franchini, who's been a 2-year starter going into his third year at quarterback. Rocco DiBiaso is back in the backfield, as well as Liam Kennedy and Chase Hogue. Might see him a lot more this year. I wanted to start with that offense because, again, you guys are a huge run-oriented offense. You start incorporating the passing a little bit as John Franchini has developed more as a quarterback. And, of course, having a guy like Jamie Tyson last year was obviously a tremendous help. But when you look at the running back group again, I think we talked about it at the end of last year where you have guys like Cohen Cook and Stephen Ordilli graduate. They're moving on to the next phases of their academic and athletic careers. But you get a guy like DiBiaso back, Liam Kennedy's back. What's it mean to you to have this staple of running backs back once again? And there's probably more guys that we're not even mentioning that could see more of an impact on the field this year as well.
Yeah, the thing we were fortunate about the past couple of seasons is our depth. We had the guys who were older who now have moved on, obviously. But these younger kids that'll be juniors for the most part, it's their time to step up. They were very successful at the JFL level, when they all played. They all won championships at that level. It was a giant class that came into Mainland for us, talent-wise in football. And they've all played meaningful minutes over the past 2 seasons, and I don't want to say it wasn't mop-up duty. They played meaningful minutes in big games. So they have that experience, which is really nice. When we've had our summer workouts, it's like plug and play now. The kids go out there, not that you don't have to tweak it here and there or address things all the time. That's coaching. But it's nice that the kids know what they're doing. And, and we were fortunate that we kind of saw that on the wall last year. Hey, these guys are going to be graduating. Who's coming in right after them? And that's kind of where we are now. It's like, even though we have, Liam Kennedy and Rocco and Jake Blum in the backfield with Franchini, it's developing the depth behind them now, because, hey, like we said, we have a tough schedule this year. There's going to be some big games there. There's going to be some physicality that maybe hasn't been there in the past. And we just have to be ready that, some guys might miss some time here or there in a game or game to game. And we have to build that depth now in our program. But it's nice to have these guys in there. It really is. It's when you get to this level of building your program and you're running the same system on offense and defense year in and year out, this is what you hope to be at, where you can plug and play.
To replace a guy like Jamie Tyson, obviously, is not easy. He's at Villanova now playing Division I football. But again, you have your quarterback back in John Franchini, who's developed nicely over the course of the last 2 years. And, if you see him play any other sports, like basketball, he might step out as one of the leaders on the basketball team this coming winter as well. But as far as football is concerned, just to stick with the offense real quick, as far as the passing game, again, he's developed, but who steps up in Jamie Tyson's absence? I look at a guy like Andrew Gilman, who was getting, as you mentioned before, some meaningful minutes last year as well. How do you now transition the passing game when you don't have that elite Division I talent like a Jamie Tyson splitting out wide and being able to do the things he does on offense and defense?
Yeah, Johnny Franchini's developed nicely as a quarterback over the past 2 seasons, and probably to a fault, maybe I've taken him a little bit more conservatively than I've done other quarterbacks in the past, just because he started as a true freshman. And we really didn't need him to be real big in a lot of games. But, there were times that we did need him, especially last year with his passing ability. But this year we're going to rely more on his arm. We're playing some big teams. There's going to be, the run game might not be as fruitful as maybe it was in the past, even though that's our bread and butter, and it will continue to be our bread and butter, what we do with our offense. But we're going to be relying on Johnny's ability to throw the ball more this season. At receiver, that's a question mark for us. That's something we're trying to work through this offseason. Andrew Gilman played a lot of time at split end for us last year. He's a big kid, really has grown this past year. He's standing about 6'4", 215 pounds. He might be kind of like a hybrid kid that plays a little bit of tight end and split end. We're looking at some younger guys out there at split end also. It's one of those things that we just have to figure that out in the next couple of weeks before the real games start hitting us. But, our backfield's very talented too. Our running backs are all at 6 foot, 6'1", except for Rocco. He's a little bit shorter, but he's a different type of running back. But Kennedy and Blum both have the ability to be very athletic in catching the football, same way Rocco was last year for us. He's one of our better receivers out of the backfield. And then we have a Colt Russo at tight end also, because we had to replace Hunter, even though Hunter wasn't a big part of our passing game last year. But we're looking at, between Russo and Gilman and Kennedy and Blum, there's 4 viable options right there for Franchini as targets.
When you look at the offensive and defensive lines, and this kind of had this is more of a transition to both sides of the football right here. Dan DeFeo, Ethan Schock, they were integral parts to those lines last year. And I'm sure I'm leaving out maybe like 5 other guys in terms of that rotation. But it seems like to me those 2 guys certainly stand out. They're both seniors this year. They got to be 2 of the bigger leaders on your team, physically and mentally, considering the position they play and I guess what they command on offense and defense manning those lines.
Yeah, he'll be a 4-year starter for us. He started as a true freshman also for our program. One of the leaders of our program, and I mean program. I mean, he does it in the classroom. He's a straight A student in class. He's one of the leaders in the weight room. I don't think he's ever missed a weight room session unless he was really sick in the entire off season. He's been that way since day one. And he's truly one of those old school throwback linemen. He doesn't kill you with how tall he is or anything like that, but he's a solid kid, very, very strong. He made all conference last year as a defensive lineman. He'll start at right tackle again for us this year. He was a tremendous force on the defensive line. Ethan Schock came in as a first-year starter last year as a junior, and he'll be back this year and play on both sides of the line, also defensive end and at our center position. Our right guard returns James Barrett, who will probably play a little bit of defense. We didn't need him on defense last year, but he'll probably play a little bit of defense for us this year too. And then on the left side of our offensive line, we have to fill in our left tackle position right now. We have a little bit of a competition going on right there. And our left guard, same thing. We graduated our 2 left guards last year, and we have some competition there. But we have some depth at those 2 positions, so it's really great that we have a meaningful competition. It's not like a upperclassman, and then it's all the way down to a freshman or a sophomore. There's some upperclassmen that are battling for that playing time. And on our defensive line, our defensive line coach, Antoine Lewis, does a tremendous job with the defensive line, not only in his coaching ability, but also the way he rotates the players. He truly plays 6 guys for 3 positions. So the kids get a lot of experience and a lot of playing time, which a lot of those kids are all back this year. I mean, last year we went into the season really with the defensive line as a question mark. We knew we were going to be good at the linebacker level. We knew we had the athletes in the secondary, and we were really kind of concerned about the defensive line. And through the course of the season, it became one of our strong points overall of our defense. So we're really looking forward to those guys. We have another kid, Matt Mewitz, will be a senior, who played a little bit of time last year and was injured for a bit, but he's vying for time on both sides of the line also.
When you look at the team as a whole now, you just mentioned the teams that you're going to be playing. And actually, before I get into that, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the loss of J.J. Sinclair to graduation, one of the more maybe underrated linebackers in South Jersey, and he just seems like he was in on every tackle. I mean, I count him up. I'd probably give him 200 tackles last year. How do you replace a guy like that? Maybe you can't replace a guy like that, but who you look to step forward in that role and basically right in the middle of the defense this coming forward?
Yeah, kids go in and come out of your program all the time, and no 2 are always the same. We had Stephen Ordilli in the backfield. Nobody's replacing that kind of runner Stephen Ordilli was in the backfield or at safety. Really, he was just a unique type of person, but someone else is going to fill those shoes on both sides of the football. JJ was a tremendous high school football player. Rocco comes back. He was a starter last year inside at linebacker, and Chase Hogue, who really is a very good linebacker. And Chase played a lot in the beginning of the season last year. Then he had a big injury that kept him out all the way till the playoff time. And then he played again back in the playoffs. And in the championship game, he actually played meaningful minutes in that game also. So he'll be the other inside linebacker with Rocco. We graduate 3 of our 4 linebackers graduate. We had to replace Cohen Cook and Hunter Watson. Again, 2 different types of dudes. You had one who's, Hunter being a big kid off the edge, who really anchored down the defensive line for us. And Cohen Cook, who's, one of the best athletes ever to walk the halls of Mainland Regional High School and one of the best athletes in South Jersey. And he just gave you a different variable option out there at outside linebacker. And, we have some kids that are all vying. We have about 4 kids competing for those 2 spots this year. And it's been great competition throughout the summer. And it's just going to make us a better team overall because, 4 kids, 2 start, all 4 are going to play. They're all going to see time from time to time, whatever it is. And some, Cohen Cook could do so many things where maybe it takes 2 kids to do what Cohen Cook did last year. Maybe somebody else is a better pass defender and someone else is a better run defender where Cohen could cover all those things, So it's helping us in a way that we're filling these spots in. We had 11 seniors last year, 8 graduated, 8 played, and, some of these spots are being filled by not just one guy, it's being filled by multiple players.
That's a good answer. I like to hear that. And again, a lot of guys stepping up here this fall. So as far as the team is concerned, schedule, this is what happens when you win a state championship. And then you're placed in the top division amid this year's realignment. West Jersey Football League, you guys are in the American division. You guys, Millville, familiar foe, Cherokee, St. Augustine Prep, as well as Winslow. Talk about that division because I have not seen a division like that in this league in probably maybe 5 to 7 years. All these teams are going to be in competition. The Prep's going to compete in their non-public group, and then it's you guys, Millville and Winslow, all in Group 4. You guys were three of the best teams in that group last year, and we know what Cherokee could do in Group 5 as well. What do you make of this division outside of the other opponents you usually play on your schedule, but this division in particular? I think all eyes are going to be on this one this fall.
Oh, yeah, there's no slouches in there. You look at all those teams, all of them made at least the second round of the playoffs, sectional championship, state semifinals. All of them have historically have a lot of history of being great football programs too, not just for the past couple of seasons, but for many years. It's one of those things that, hey, it's one of those gifts of being, I guess, having success for a couple of years, according to the West Jersey Football League. But it is what it is. We just have to prepare ourselves for it. Get as many players ready because we know the physicality is going to be a little bit different. We know that there's no, every game, there's no like easy game on the schedule. Not that there ever is an easy game, but you know what I mean? Like kind of like a let up kind of thing. The kids got to be prepared and the coaches have to be prepared week in and week out right now. We really have to be on our game each week of this season because, every week's going to be a battle.
The schedule is as follows. You guys are going to open up at Battle of the Beach against Atlantic City in Ocean City, so that'll be a nice little matchup. Again, the Mainland AC rivalry seems to have been ignited on the football field the past couple of years. Taking on Hamilton again, always tough. Then you're at Millville, home against Cherokee. At the Prep, you host rival Ocean City, at rival EHC, then you host Winslow, and then you're at Delsea. I mean, talk about a gauntlet of a schedule. You just mentioned just adding on the traditional teams as well, like the OCs, the EHTs, and then you look at Hamilton as well, who you guys had a battle with last year. Then some new guy, new blood, like going at Delsea to end the regular season. Just what was your first reaction to the schedule as a whole when it actually came out? And then I know you and I talked a bit in the offseason about just trying to get that opening game of the year, whether it was Battle of the Beach or another neutral location for a showcase event. Just putting that all together, did you ultimately want the biggest challenge possible coming off a state title to essentially just try to do it again?
Well, now that our program has attained the success it has, it takes time to build the program to be where it is. And now we're here and we want to stay here. And when you're going to be at that level, you're going to have to play a lot of quality football teams. I don't know if I've ever seen a division as stacked as this division, also with what teams have done in the past. And who knows what this season brings for everybody. But then you look at the rounding out of the schedule. And I was just very glad that we were able to keep some of the old Cape Atlantic League games in there with Atlantic City because they traditionally were always a rival of Mainland. Hamilton, always a great opponent. They gave us a very tough game last year. We didn't pull out till the very end, 14-7 ball game. And then, you look down line, we still get Ocean City, thank God, because that's just Mainland Ocean City in every sport is just, gas on a fire. And then EHT, our traditional Thanksgiving rival, we get to keep them. And then you end up the season with another state champion, with Delsea, So, it is what it is. You just have to roll with the punches. This is what it's going to be for the next 2 years, and we'll see how we fare with it. We're looking forward to the competition. We're looking forward to it. I know the kids are looking forward to it. It's really made us focus as a football program this off season. Like I told the kids when we had our first team meeting, like what happened last year was last year. It's great. A lot of guys in the room were a part of something that was very special, but that's over with and it's in the history books. Now we have to turn the page and move forward because nobody's going to be walking out there on Friday night saying, "Oh my God, you were the state champs" or anything like that. No, they're coming for us, because that's going to be a feather in their cap. And we know that. And I think knowing our schedule the way it is, it's really honed in our coaching staff this year to really get focused on what we need to do and address a multitude of little issues that we might have. It's really had the kids hunker down and get in the weight room and prepare themselves because they know, there's some big boys that we're going to be battling on Friday night, some really good football teams, a lot of talent that's out there, because I know just from playing a lot of those teams last year, there's a lot of kids coming back in those teams too. And they were very good programs last year. So it's going to be a fun season, hopefully.
Definitely looks fun on paper, especially from a fan or just a neutral observer.
It's great games for fans to go see.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at it from our perspective as well, just, broadcasting these games for the mainland community and, of course, all the other communities as well. It's high-quality matchups for high school football in South Jersey. Chuck Smith Show right here on Cape Atlantic Live, of course, presented by Olmer's Appliance Service. A couple more for you, Coach. You alluded to it before. about the wanting to stay where you guys are now and just to keep improving and keep competing for state championships. So it happened a couple years ago. You guys win the sectional title, ran into a tough game in the state semis against Millville, which, again, they're doing the same thing. They're trying to maintain that excellence of sectional champ and competing at the state level as well. When you win a state title, they always say the hardest thing is to go do it again and not have that championship hangover, whether you win or lose. But you also discussed how this took some time to build to get to this point over the last 2 to 4 years where it's been able to be maintained as this is one of the more successful programs in South Jersey, if not the entire state. How do you still maintain that? And again, you do have a veteran group back and a lot of guys who did it last year. How do you maintain it for this year, 25, then eventually when it completely turns over in 26 and beyond?
Yeah, it's building. Look, I think we have a great culture at Mainland. The kids know the expectations of the football program, know what's expected of them day in and day out, year round, not just during football season. To me, football season is 12 months a year, and the kids know that. They know I'm going to be on top of them. As soon as the season's over, they know I'm still on top of them. And I'm fortunate at Mainland that I have a lot of my assistant coaches in the building too, which is really nice, and it builds the culture of the program, maintains it. Our community has done so well with the junior football leagues, Summers Point and especially Linwood and Northfield. They've been to championship games over the last several years too, and the kids are staying in the community too. They're not necessarily running down to Holy Spirit or St. Augustine Prep. And this year we have a huge incoming freshman group of 41 players, which, I think the most we've had was maybe 5 years ago. We had like 37 players, and consistently, I know this is a thing with all the programs around, really. Most freshman teams are around 20 to 25, if they even have a freshman football program. And that's where we've been the last several years. Then all of a sudden this year, our incoming class is at 41 kids. And I'm expecting there to be more as we get closer to the school year too. And we really haven't seen those numbers at Mainland in a long time. So it just shows me, there's a lot of interest in our football program, also just from our community and our youth programs. So it's building that culture, and it's helping to feed the program that, hey, you never know what the talent's going to be. You never know. You never know you're going to have a John Franchini, a Cohen Cook, a Jamie Tyson year in, year out. Those things, come and go. But when you have a solid program, a lot of that can take over what an individual might do. You might become a better team overall, where you don't have to rely on certain individuals to win the game. They're nice to have, don't get me wrong. They're nice to have those kind of players. But, when you have a great program and you have a culture that's there that you've worked hard to maintain, hey, maybe you don't win these games, 30-something to whatever, but you're going to win those 21-14 games, 21-17 games, because the kids know the expectations of the program, and they know the work ethic that's involved. And everything we do is all for Friday night. Everything, how we work in the weight room, how we work on the practice field, how we hold ourselves in the classroom, everything is all about Friday night, because we want to make Friday night as easy as possible. And when you have that many kids on board with you, everybody on the wagon, it makes it a lot easier overall.
Coach, I'm looking forward to the season. 2024 is going to be a good one for Mainland. I'll leave you here with this one. I'll circle back to 2023 real quick. Is there a big banner celebration? I know you're not in a gym. Is there going to be a big sign on the field this year? How do you commemorate the last year's state title game, state championship team, for that home opener about roughly September 6th, roughly around there? How do you commemorate last year's team?
There's another year on the banner in the gym. We have a state championship banner. We have one that's hanging up in the weight room with all the kids' names on it from last year. We'll have one in the stadium. There'll be a special banner just for the state championship. That'll be along the fence where all the other division and sectional championship banners were. But since it was the first state championship in Mainland football history, they're going to have their own banner. It's going to stand out a little bit more than the other ones. And that's it. Not that I'm tired of talking about the state championship, but I'm kind of like, it's over with. It's done with. We'll get moving. It's kind of nice when we get out there to practice, or I'm in school and we're focused on what we're doing now. And, but it's a natural thing. Everybody, I'm not kidding you. Every day I run into somebody who says something about it, or something about one of the kids that was on the team or whatever now. And it's nice, being a coach and having been around for a long time, and seeing these kids now going off to college. To me, that's always the big thing, or going on into life with a job or something like that, moving forward, because they can't rest on their accolades anyway either. Nobody cares that Jamie Tyson at Villanova intercepted 12 passes last year, had however many touchdown passes. Nobody cared about Jabril Mace the year before when he went to Villanova, because anybody that's there was the same kind of dude at their school. So it's nice to see the program move on and watch the kids develop and graduate. And, that this past season was a very special season, one of the best ever in South Jersey. And it's nice to have been a part of it, and all the kids and the community that was behind that thing, and you and Matt being a part of our broadcasting crew and all that stuff. But, just as much as that was great, and to look back at that very fondly, and probably I'll appreciate it more in 5 or 10 years than I do at this point in time. But we're really excited for this season, really excited.
The chase for a 2024 Group 4 state championship is on at the end of August. Battle of the Beach, Mainland versus Atlantic City at Ocean City on that Thursday kickoff game. Coach, appreciate the time. Looking forward to talking to you each and every week this year on the Chuck Smith Show. And we're going to document hopefully another great fall for you guys.
That's the plan. All about AC right now. Thanks, Nick.
Much appreciated. Chuck Smith Show right here on Cape Atlantic Live, presented by Ulmer's Appliance Service. Check it out in season every week, recapping and previewing Mainland Regional Football on Cape Atlantic Live.